Hey everyone, and welcome back. I'm so thrilled to welcome Lisa Jacobs. Hey Lisa,
Hi,
how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very good. What are you going to be talking about today?
Yes, so I'm going to be talking about branding strategy and packaging design, and basically how you can create a solid, packaging strategy that you can extend through different product lines, and what you have to keep in mind basically when you design a packaging design. So, yeah.
Love it. And without further ado, would you like to share your screen and jump
Yes.
right in?
All right. So for the packaging design I'm going to do right now, I took a scene creator that I got from Design Cuts before. And what I want to do is basically create a box and bottle packaging combination. Now, before I start, this obviously doesn't have the box included, so I'm going to choose one that fits with this right away as well. But then also, when I start making a product packaging, I think it's really important to have some type of consistency. But obviously, when you're making a packaging product design, it's really important that it also doesn't look the same as every other product, so it's also distinctive. So I think it's really important to find some kind of formula that contains constants and variables and which you can play around with when you're starting to make packaging designs. So that's what I'm going to look at as well. So at first, I'm going to
Lisa, just quickly on that point of differentiation, I guess.
Yeah.
It's that age-old rule of like, imagine it on a busy shelf.
Yeah.
Which one's someone going to pick? That's so important because that can literally make or break your business if someone passes it by or if it grabs their eye.
Yeah, exactly. And when they're like, can you imagine going to a supermarket as well? And when you're looking for one brand and all of the brands are stacked into one corner or something, you just don't know where it is, and all of the products would look for like it's from a different brand. So it's important to keep the consistency, but then also not that consistent that all of the products look the same and that you're ending up taking the wrong product with you, for example. So that's all stuff to keep in mind. And I kind of have a formula with this, and I also have some examples here that we can talk about later. But yeah, I'm just gonna replace this bottle here with one that I got here, which I think
amazing.
Yeah, it's really good because this, like, the thing is what with these scene creators is that I can just kind of customize it. So it also has these nature elements to it that you can customize. So for example, if you're making a packaging with tea, then you can also bring out herbs that come back in the products, for example, and then make mock-ups that are related to tea instead of cosmetics, for example, which I really like. So I'm just scaling that up so they fit well together. So I'm just going to, of course, the bottle needs to look like it's fitting in the box. So I'm just.
Oh yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah, needs to fit though. And then we're just gonna make like a quick example of like just a simple logo design to work with. It doesn't need to be super complicated, but it's just to have something to work with. And for that, I'm going to use the from Graphic Goods, I think it was. He makes these etch styled illustrations from like old books, vintage books and stuff. And I think
they're really cool, aren't they?
Yeah, I really love those because it's like these packs are so easy to make, like upgrade your whole packaging and branding design to something super luxurious and like high end. So that's what I want to use for this step. So I'm just going to skip over to Illustrator, and I opened one of the packs for flowers. This one is the one that I worked with before when I was experimenting with this for this session. So because it's just very symmetrical and it works better as well on smaller sizes. So that's why I like this one. because obviously also with packaging, it's important that it works on smaller sizes. So one that I really liked, the type, which I also matched up with, was Marigold, which is already preset here. And for the example, I'm going to call the brand Pauline because it just sounds super like cosmetic-ish and it works well. So
I like it.
So the logo now that I'm going to work with is like, I'm just going to call it Pauline. It's the font Marigold, and just an FYI, because it's preset, I set the kerning all the way up to 200 to create that like extra luxurious feeling. And I made it all caps because I just like it all caps, especially when you have this like a very detailed flower logo. Then you don't want to go too much everywhere with your letters. I'm just going to create outlines and to kind of have some consistency. So this one is 25 pixels. I'm just going to make this 1.5 the height. Oh, that's not it. 1.5 the height of the letters. And then scale it down a bit. Just to have some way of how this should be gridded. All right.
I have to confess, Lisa, I've become weirdly into observing like cosmetics packaging and shampoos and stuff like that. They're always the prettiest.
Yeah,
and I've started spending far too much on shampoo because the posh shampoos have the nicest packaging.
Yeah, I always go to these like more high-end cosmetics stores as well, and also wine labels. I know that you mentioned wine labels before as well on the previous section, but I don't know, there's just something about these products that it's all about brand experience and creating like, you know, because also with wine, I don't know, I know that you love wine and that you know a lot of stuff about wine. I love wine, but I don't know nothing about wine. And I just go on, you know, pick the wine that has the prettiest label on it. So
I wouldn't say I know a lot about wine. I like drinking it. I'd go that far.
I mean, that's what I got from your stories on Instagram, that you know a lot of stuff about wine. So I was like, yeah, I don't know anything about wine. So
what I have noticed, I feel like being a creative, it kind of makes you have naturally expensive taste, because it feels painful for me to buy something with like really cheap, horrible packaging.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're the same as well. Like, you can't bring yourself to do it.
Yeah, I really don't like you know, also especially with like you know, clothes and like everyday stuff that I use. I know that I'm not like, right now I'm using a PC as well. I'll switch to Apple next year, but I've been getting more and more critical on the everyday stuff that I use. And so especially because I love self-care products, I love like cosmetics products, I love like, you know, shampoo stuff, skincare, everything. So that has been like, there's an amazing growth in terms of how much I spend on this kind of stuff, because it just it's important to me, but it's important to a lot of people. So that's why packaging design is also important. So I'm just going to start off with a clean base and copy that logo onto the packaging, so we at least have something to start with. And so what I talked about before when I was talking about constants and variables is, you know, when you have the Apple packaging products, you have on the front, there's always, you know, a front face of the product. And then on the side, there's the little Apple logo. And then on the other side, it's the Apple name or the product name, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's the same on every single product. That is super consistent, but there are also products that also include a lot of art. So they're, especially with craft beers, for example, they hire a lot of illustrators to do custom designs on their beer cans or their beer bottles and stuff. And when you put them aside, they wouldn't look necessarily consistent, but there's usually still, if they do it right, there's still some elements that are consistent, but you just kind of have to play with what stays consistent and what is the variable. So with this design that I'm going to make now, I decided to make the variables is the color and the illustration. And then all of the rest is kind of the structure that is going to be the same for every single product that would come out of this. So I think especially when you're creating something for a new brand, then often, like if they like, in an ideal situation, the product launch goes well and they will design a lot more products, right? So you have to make sure that whatever you're making for your client is going to be expandable friendly, I guess.
Yeah, expandable and versatile. We were talking about this just now on Melinda's session, but often you can't predict what a brand is going to use a brand identity for. So it's about future proofing it, because otherwise, as they expand and try it in different mediums, they're going to have to get a whole rebrand if your brand identity isn't versatile.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I want to go for as well, is that with whatever product that, for example, the potential brand Pauline would come up with, whether it's like right now I'm going to make a face wash, but if they might make a jar or something, that there is some way that you can add this, like make this whole design as well on a jar, for example. So there's some consistence and variables in that. So right now I just have a simple base. I make it black because I have something cool that I want to do with the ink, that like people that maybe have watched my Instagram profile, they might know already what I'm going to do. But so I picked the birch cherry illustration. It's also from Graphic Goods, so it's all nice in the same style. I like it because they have illustrations from all kinds of subjects. So also with like bicycles and photography stuff and anything really. So I'm just going to copy this and then just paste this over here. And so I want to make this black, but like blacker than the background, because the idea what I'm having is for the mock-up, I want to fake a kind of like a letterpress effect. So what I'm going to do is just like a little trick that I like to do sometimes when I'm making something a little bit more exclusive for a product packaging. When I paste it on here is I go to this little like effects button in Photoshop and go to bevel and emboss. And then I'm just going to play around here with the settings until I like it. So it kind of gives that like extra luxurious feeling.
There's something about botanicals that just ooze luxury. This is what I'm talking about with my fancy shampoos.
You know what? I think it's also that a lot of stuff that we use these days is full of chemicals and stuff. So if you have the idea that what you're using is all natural, then people just really like it.
Yeah, so true.
So also
by the way, Lisa, sorry to interject. As I watch you work and explain quite how much thought goes into these decisions, I want to get all of these birthday live sessions and show them to non-designers and clients to be like, you see how much thought goes into these? It's not just making stuff look pretty.
Yeah, definitely. It's also when I think it's especially with clients is what I do. Often I think we all know this, is that sometimes clients also have suggestions that that you don't agree with. But I think it's important to at least hear them out and then also discuss in a critical way what they're trying to do. Because it creates trust, and it also creates that idea of, not idea. I mean, it also creates for them the knowledge that you are the expert in your field. And so also experimenting with packaging designs with printing and like actually, making stuff, which by the way, I have a really good tip for. If you are a registered freelancer, there's a good chance that a lot of like product manufacturers or printing manufacturers, they ship free samples to your house so you can check it out. So, they do that in case, you're a designer, you want to get clients to that manufacturer. So a lot of times these manufacturers, they ship free samples to you, and you can just, experiment with materials and what that feels like and all of that stuff.
That is a really good tip, actually, because I know a lot of designers in our community that have done that and really not been happy with the samples. Like, it happens more than you might think.
Not with the samples that they're trying to get, or like in like during the production session, or
no, as in they get like an initial sample and be like, oh, this really is not the quality I thought it would be, and then they have to pivot and maybe find a different supplier and stuff.
Yeah, it saves a lot of money, and it's also more environmentally friendly if you have these samples beforehand.
Yeah.
As well. So I would definitely advise doing that. I actually have a big closet behind me, and one drawer is full of samples. it's complete samples. So good to have that.
Yeah, for sure. This looks pretty elegant already, Lisa, I have to say.
And this is not like, I'm not even spending that much time to make this now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's pretty easy to do it. Just making it like super elegant really easily without putting that much effort in it, as long as you like make your decisions consciously know what you're doing. Yeah, so the idea with the variables and constants that I talked about earlier is that the colors and the illustration in the background, that's going to be the variable. So for example, on a shampoo, the colors could be pink and there could be a rose on this. But imagine being in a store and seeing all of these boxes next to each other. It's like you're buying a piece of a bigger story, kind of.
Mm-hmm. I love when brands do that, actually.
Yeah.
They become like Pokemon cards to me. Like,
yeah.
I gotta collect them all.
Yeah, exactly. That's yeah. A lot of cosmetics, like high-end cosmetics, brands like MAC, they do this as well.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm addicted to them, which is not very good.
Lisa, I feel like we're revealing what susceptible consumers we are.
Yeah.
If our phones truly are listening to us right now, we're going to start getting all the ads. It's like they're going to buy anything that looks nice.
Yeah. Yep. I think I actually have my yeah. Yeah, you could have the I think I have a Arabic thing on. I was making something for Arabic client before, so it makes a very weird lining, but I'll fix that later. I'll just keep it like this, just for the idea, you know. So if we go back, it looks something like this. I think we can make that box. I mean, I think there's something with the lighting that I want to change, because it's that's better. So it looks pretty sleek, I think. And this you could easily, you know, bring to the bottle as well. So that's what we're going to do now. So I'm just going to open this up.
That looks immediately beautiful, I have to say.
Yeah, but it's also, I think the matching plate underneath is also doing a lot of work with this.
It's helping.
So, yeah, it's helping. It's really helping. But yeah, I mean, you know, when you have for like also with black packaging as well, I personally really love. So that's why I also went with this. It kind of gives with this super luxurious feeling, especially with super black ink or with some kind of special print effect to it.
Yep.
Yeah, but like I said, I try to imagine it with multiple packages from different products next to each other, which I think is super important. And then with different sketch illustrations and stuff, it's really good.
I don't know if there's a name for it, but I have noticed this type of design where it uses contrast in interesting ways, because the botanical illustration has pretty low contrast. It's pretty similar to the
Yeah.
dark background, whereas that pop of tealy green color really stands out and creates high contrast and some sharp edges. And
Yeah.
I've noticed this on a lot of packaging where it plays with contrast, having both very faint or low contrast areas juxtaposed next to super high contrast areas. Is that something that you do a lot in your work?
It depends. Like for this one, I did the black illustration, at least on top. I did it consciously because the logo needs to be super visible compared to the rest, obviously. But I do like to play with contrast, and then also with different types of printing effects. So you could also play with gold, like foil printing, for example. But I do like these like subtle effects. You can also completely turn it around, have a very light packaging and then have a very light black or gray or off-white sketch underneath, for example.
Yeah, I like it. Somehow it does feel very elegant.
Yeah, exactly. It's just not like plain. It doesn't feel plain.
Yeah.
Something is just added to it. I like it. So let's see. I'm just going to bring this to the front so I can copy these elements to the design.
Do you know Fortnum Mason? They're a English company famous for like doing hampers and stuff. We've used them a bunch in the past when we get Christmas hampers.
I don't know them. I think is that bad? I don't know if it is.
No, check them out after though. You'll see it's this kind of greeny teal color.
Okay.
It's a very like almost regal English kind of vibe to it.
Okay. I have to check it out after the session though.
And they're known to be pretty posh, so you've got posh taste, clearly.
Posh taste. Nice. All right. Yeah, I'm curious how this is gonna play out. I'm just gonna scale everything up so it fits to the bottle, but I'm keeping kind of the same structure as well. So I'm making this black because I want that's what I like with this one that I'm gonna do, is that I want to create a contrast between the bottle and the box. So when you open the box, it's like, ooh, nice. And especially what would be very nice is if the inside of the bottle was also black, because then the product really pops out when you open it.
See, I think most people, and I include myself in this, that aren't packaging designers, we don't think about these things. So I really like that you're talking, all of us through your thought process when it comes to a project like this.
Yeah, I think what would be best when you go through process like this is to kind of envision yourself opening the product throughout the whole process and how you would like it when you're opening this product. So that's what I really like. I think that this was going to be too heavy though at first. Yes, and I'm also just going to just quickly remove this as well.
Yeah, I like this. Melinda was earlier combining different mock-ups, I think, as well. I know you watched that session, Lisa, where she was taking shadows from one and adding them to the other and so on.
Yeah, that's what I've actually been doing only recently to my work personally. Is that, at first when I looked for mock-ups before for clients, then, I was always just finding just not the right mock-ups. And so these scene creators are perfect for this because you can really just, make it completely your own and make it relevant, because there are a lot of brands that might just need a completely different angle because their storytelling is different. And so a mock-up that you can customize is just ideal.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
I love how you're previewing it in real time as well.
The workflow.
Yeah, well, yeah, the outcome on the object. It's
I
cool
always
how
go
you can
back
just
and
reference.
forth. Yeah, I just go back and forth, and then
And you could, of course, have split windows.
Yeah, but I mean, if I had a bigger screen, I might have, but I just go back and forth.
Do you work off of one screen, Lisa? Because I do. My whole team have like 2 or 3 screens and love it. I can't do it. I have to work off my little laptop because I'm so set in my ways.
Yeah, I actually love more, working on 2 screens, but currently I have one, but I'm waiting for these like huge widescreens to go into sale. So that's kind of what I'm upgrading to next year, probably, because I've seen those, and those are probably every designer's dream, I think. It's these, I'm just like, all right.
It's like that movie Swordfish.
Which
where
one?
I'm probably showing my age. He's just got all of these screens for like coding and hacking and that kind of thing. That looks nice.
Yeah, I think, can I adjust the shadows like a little bit? Let's see. Oh, there you go. Make it just a tiny bit lighter. And
I think this is a really important step. Don't be afraid to use the customization options, because it really can make a difference, like depending on the outcome and the design, like Lisa just lightened up there. I think a lot of people tend to just use stuff out of the box, excuse the pun, because we're dealing with packaging, but you know what I mean, Lisa? Like it just tweaking the dials a bit can really, really, help mold a great outcome.
Yeah, exactly. That's, I think that's also nice with the scene creators, is that it gives a lot more options to customize everything and make it completely your own. Because a lot of clients, or a lot of clients maybe not, but a lot of people, they see the difference between like a normal plain free mock-up that you can get online and something that really put a lot of eye detail into. There's a huge difference there. You can definitely see it. So when you
100%.
with a lot of mock-ups, then you eventually will probably go more into that direction. At least that's what I did. I know that a lot of other people did as well. So
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I love with the illustrations, because even when you're not an illustrator yourself, if you're just creating brand design, you shouldn't be afraid to implement illustration in brand design anyway, because that's where these products are for. And you don't, like, even if this kind of posh way of doing illustrations on packaging design, if that's not your thing, then you can also go for something super abstract. Like you have these seamless geometrical and organic illustration patterns on your website as well, which I think is really cool, to create a super modern, youthful packaging design as well. So you can just go all kinds of directions, and you don't have to use vintage etched styles, for example. You could go do something completely different. But, like I said, you don't have to be an illustrator to do something like this. You can hire somebody. You could also see online if there are some tools that can help you.
For sure. And I think when you're selecting your presentation like this, whether it's a scene creator or a mock-up or even doing a photo shoot, it's important to think of what matches up with the style of the brand aesthetic. Because here you've gone quite elegant. It's got that nice like wooden top. That might not work so well with something that's like super wacky and abstract. because it's quite a kind of rustic bottle. So you might want to find a different mock-up in that case.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I just clicked it away, but let me just put it back up. Like I don't think that this was even the only part of the package, but there were like a lot of different bottles that you could use. So also when you have a brand that is very high on, creating sustainable packaging as well, you could also look at, maybe other options that are better. For example, like a glass option that you have over here with the cork, or
we had James Martin, if you caught it, Lisa, did a whole session earlier on environmentally friendly projects, ethical design.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, then you probably should look at that for more information, because I love ethical product design, but I'm not that familiar with it so far. But I do like the innovation that is going around right now in that industry, because there are a lot of really cool creative ideas of how to create a more ethical packaging design or product anyway, or branding. So yeah, there's a lot of different options. If you don't really like one, then you could just take something else. There was another one added to this, because this was only part one, so there was a lot. And
there's a bunch.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's just to give your client an idea of what you have in mind for packaging design, then this is already a pretty good way to at least explain your thoughts, because you don't want to give room to your client to start imagining things when you're talking about a design. So these are really good.
Love that. Lisa, thank you so much for showing off that case study and the beautiful packaging, where I know it's a relatively simple composition, but I know that I couldn't make that, and I certainly couldn't make it as effortlessly as you just made it look. So really, really inspiring stuff. And thank you for talking us through your process and your mindset as you brought that together.
Thank you so much.
Where is the best place that you'd like everyone to go and follow and support you? I know you're pretty big on Instagram, Dribbble as well, and your website, I believe.
Yeah, I have Instagram, Dribbble, and Behance, and it's all Lisa Jacobs Design. And also my website, jacobsdesign.com, and that's it.
Cool. Thank you again for being part of it. That was great.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
All right, chat soon.